All right, what is going on, guys? We got some big metal donuts sitting down there on a big old Bosch board. And I'm just going to do a quick video on some of the settings and parameters on these boards and put it into defrost. I don't know that I've seen a single video on here of anybody showing the defrost cycle of one of these boards. And if you're not aware of it, you know, there are two of these units. This is the smaller one that can do 2 and 3 ton configuration. Let me get back here a little bit so you can see it. So see, that's the smaller one. And then there's a slightly bigger one that's going to do a 4 and 5 ton configuration. And this is the one that does have a capacitor. A lot of guys don't know that some of these units have capacitors because they do have a standard fan motor, and it will change speeds, and it will just basically restrict itself to go into a lower speed and then open full up to go into a higher speed, and you'll basically get like 400 RPMs and 800 RPMs or something like that. But the main thing you need to know are these buttons up here in the top corner. And that's where all the action is happening over here. And you have 2 buttons there side by side. You can hear it ramping up. You see it, we started out at 40 some hertz, now we're getting up to 60 some. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing in a force. So the button to the right over here, if you hit it one time, just for a second, you're gonna see that kind of a, you know, whatever you want to call that, a sideways T pops up, and that means that the unit is going into force. So most of the time when you walk around here on a good hot sunny day and you're running an air conditioner and you take the door off one of these things, it's going to be running at about 33 or 34 hertz, and it'll just sit there running like that, you know, using very little power. But then when you hit that force button, you will hear it slowly start ramping up. Your fan speed will go up, your RPMs, and the sound of the compressor is going to go up. Like right now, you hear it going up. Okay, I was trying to be quiet there so you could hear that compressor doing its thing. Got the big Medea in there speeding up, and it's going to vary our flow of refrigerant, and it's just basically trying to maintain a temperature in there on the indoor coil. And you can choose to set it 45 degrees or a little more aggressive 37 degrees on these things. You just make some changes on those dip switches over here, but usually it's best to just leave everything factory set. But we're pretty much topped out right now at 77 hertz. And then if we cycle through these parameters, which are on the back of our door over here, and I will tell you, this board has been replaced at one point, because the one issue that these units have, for the most part, these things are pretty solid. I wouldn't call them totally bulletproof. I mean, as far as leaks go, we found fewer leaks on indoor coils on the Bosch units than anything else. You know, nothing nowhere near like Linux leak rates. But we have found a few. So we've replaced a few of those indoor coils leaking. But the one issue you have out here is the fan speed. So whenever this thing ramps its speed up, or whenever you were to put it into a test mode, that fan would shut off right there. Hey, that was convenient timing. It's almost like I planned that. You'd think Shannon knows what he's doing, but that was a total coincidence. But you saw how that fan, there was a little click down here, made a little click, and then the fan speed just sped up, basically doubled its speed. So if this old board that was on here, when these boards have the issue, that fan would have shut off, and it would only run in the low speed. When it goes to kick to high, you've got this Molex plug right here, and these are your speeds. So it's going to change the speed from one pin to the other, basically, to switch the speed, but it would not output power through that wire. Something was going wrong in all them little solder joints on the board or whatever, and we have replaced several boards because of that fan not kicking up to high speed. So of course then, you know, you're going to get your high pressure faults and trips. You're going to come out here and see a fault code, and it's going to be off on your high pressure. But just to give you a look around one of these data plates, you know, over there is your settings for your tonnage. You've got some of your defrost information, faults, and all that. You've got your lingo for what things mean down through here. And then up here, you've got some fault codes. So you probably would have been off on an F1 high pressure switch fault if that fan was doing that. And then you've got some indicators here. The one